The next team we have on our good bad teams list is the Dolphins. I don't agree with that.
I think they're a bad good team.
They're a good team with problems, but they're a good team.
Yes,
their receivers are so good. Oh my God, man!
Too good. I'm too good.
They're. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Waddle is just like two easily top 10 receivers to me. I'm so high on Waddle.
Waddle easily top 10. Easily top 10.
Not easily. He's top 10.
Would you rather? He's really good. He's someone I think when I do my player power rankings, the top 100 players in the league, he's probably going to make his debut this week because I've pushed a lot of Tyreek Hill narratives saying that he's the best receiver in the league, and I still think that. But Waddle is not it's Waddle and Tyreek are
it's 1A and 1B with them. Yeah. It's not 1 and 2. It's 1A, 1B.
Right.
So
if Hill is the best, what's Waddle? You know,
and the thing about it is that like wide receiver is such like
juice, dude.
As far as the rankings go, it's like such like a respect thing. Like, whoa, how can you do that already? You can't. Waddle hasn't played enough games to like get the ranking among other wide receivers that he actually is. But when it comes down to it, like someone commented on my thing, I don't blame him for this, but they're like, so he's top 10 because of, yards after the catch. Yes, he is. That and everything else that he's awesome at, which is like everything. I just love that. I'm really excited to watch the Dolphins. They're a must watch for me.
Yeah, so I think go ahead.
I was just going to say, for those that don't know, our producer is a Dolphins fan, and we've been arguing with him basically about whether or not Tua is like Jimmy Garoppolo tier.
We're not even arguing. He agrees.
Yeah, it's just like we were arguing, and then like it was, I don't know. We came to this like weird consensus that Tua's like.
Tua's like, well, here's the thing. This is why the Dolphins are going to be miserable this year. Like, as much as I like them, but here's the thing. Here was my prediction for the Dolphins going into the year. You can go look at my record prediction videos. I said they would go 10-7. I said they would make the playoffs off the strength of like, I thought Mike McDaniel was going to do a good job bringing that San Francisco stuff to Miami. And I thought like when you've got that kind of speed and those kind of weapons, like in the open, and you can design easy ways for them to get the football, like it's going to be an explosive offense. They retain the defensive coordinator. The defense will still be fine. They'll go 10-7. And then I said they will beat the Ravens in the playoffs. They will win a playoff game because that's how the bracket shaped up after. So I had them beating the Ravens in the playoffs and going 10-7. But despite this, after that game, people were still like, apologize to the Dolphins, admit that you're wrong about the Dolphins, even though things are going exactly as planned. And that's why the Tua narratives this year are just going to get so exhausting. Like
nasty.
They are.
You know what it is?
Nasty. And we got to.
It's people. The number of times I see comments that are like, how did he play a bad game? And this is about any quarterback, not just Tua. He threw 250 yards. He had 300 yards. How's it a bad game? And you'll go look at the stat line, and it's like, not only can you not stat line watch a quarterback, but it'll be like 300 yards on 55 attempts. Not moving me. People put so much stock into hitting that 300 yard mark, and Tua's going to do it a lot this year with those receivers.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Tua. Tua did not play a bad game. No. All right. Tua did not play a bad game. He had a bad first half. He had a very good second half. All right. But I think you need nuance in the Tua conversation because, like, you look at what happened. Tua, he threw what, like 349 yards or something like that?
It was like 450.
Or was it 400?
It was 451.
It was like 450 yards.
Something crazy.
It's crazy. It was. That's a lot of yards. Yeah. But he gained 158 yards on throws within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. 158 yards total on throws 5 yards or less down the field. All right. So I don't know how many, and that's, so that's a lot of yak. And then on the he had 2 deep shots.
Yes.
One was a throw to Tyreek where Tyreek just ran right by Marcus Peters. Waddle was running a crossing route. They were single high. Kyle Hamilton was a single high safety. Yep. Kyle Hamilton came down to take away the crosser, and that left Marcus Peters, one-on-one with Hill, who just ran right by him. Tua aired it out. Hill beat him so bad that Hill came to a full, complete stop to catch that ball. Okay.
It was not a good ball.
If we were it was not a good ball. That's the thing. And people can't comprehend. People can comprehend this just fine if in college. If I were to show you a play from CJ Stroud, and I were to show you a play where Marvin Harrison Jr. torched the shit out of the corner, and CJ Stroud like threw it and it fluttered, and Marvin Harrison had to come to a full stop to catch it. And I said, this is why I think CJ Stroud is an overrated. Like, you have to separate the result from the process. That's all the draft process is. That's all scouting is. But as soon as you get to the league, people do not recognize this. They can't separate like, oh, the results from the process. And with Tua, I mean, it was good. He was good in the second half. He really was. He made some nice throws. Some of the touchdown passes.
There was one where he
made nice throws.
He evaded pressure, booted to his left. I can't think of the receiver, but he wore number 85. And he hit this really nice throw on the run, rolling to his left. But I was like, that was a nice play.
And people are like, oh, this is elite hate. You hate Tua so much because you won't say I'm not going to say that Tua was the catalyst to that win over the receivers. All right. You can tell when the quarterback is winning you games, the weapons are winning you games. When I watch the Dolphins, I see the weapons winning them games. Okay. Tua did not hit anything beyond 10 yards, like in the intermediate zones, like in this game. Especially, he hit some stuff, I guess, over the middle. But outside the numbers, intermediate, there was just nothing there for him. And there's never going to be anything there for him because he just doesn't have that kind of arm strength. All right. He doesn't have that kind of dynamic ability. And in the first game against the Patriots, they scored one touchdown. They scored one touchdown on offense. And guys were just as wide open in that game, but he was missing them. So, and he threw two ugly picks in the last game against the Ravens. So it's been four halves of play so far from Tua. I'd say 3 have been bad. 1 has been good. And that's just where I'm at. That's just where I'm at with him. Okay. And it's not, Dolphins fans need to learn to Tua and the Dolphins are two separate entities to them. It's not enough that you give the Dolphins respect. You also have to give Tua all the credit for it. Otherwise, it's no respect at all. I do respect the Dolphins. I think they can be a playoff team this year. They have great weapons. The defense was a little bit questionable in this game, and we'll talk about Lamar. But the process and results, even if it's a 6 touchdown game, I don't care if the play on the field doesn't impress me. And Tua, it was good. It was a good second half, but oh my God, you need to give him all these flowers. You need to walk back. You're going to apologize. He's that dude. He's him. Yeah. He didn't show any of that to me in this game. I'm sorry. I'm still not in on him.
I think
but
what bothers me...
It was a great win. It was a great win.
What bothers me about it is if you start talking about a quarterback and you start saying and I think Tua is okay. I'm not super invested in his success or failure, but if you start talking about a quarterback and you're well, he's playing bad first couple of years, and you're well, the supporting cast is terrible. Nothing to do with supporting cast. We had a good supporting cast. It's I'm discounting all of his bad plays because the team around him isn't good enough. Then when he gets a great team around him, he is not getting the credit for that. You have to, if we're saying the success of the passing offense is dependent on the receivers, I'm saying the success of the passing offense is dependent on the receivers. And obviously there's some sort of levels to that where it's but if you gave, Justin Herbert nobodies, then he wouldn't play as well. Sure. But I see the passing offense and you ask who is making the plays, who's making the explosives. And to me, it's, obviously it has to be both to some extent, but it's much more the receivers than Tua.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested to just see how many of his yards were yak yards here. And the other thing is, I think everybody kind of agrees, all these Dolphins fans are apologize to Tua. If it really come down to it, it's okay, does this game make you think that Tua, are you ready to put him above and give him a list of names? They're probably all still saying no, right, when it really comes down to it. So it's the short term victory lap.
Put Tua, if you're putting Tua over Derek Carr, then like
it's like, oh yeah, do you think he's Jimmy? Because Jimmy G put up top 10 efficiency seasons.
Yeah.
So many
every year in that
quarterbacks
Shanahan type of offense. Top 10 Baker Mayfield when everything was perfect and was living off play action and some nice weapons and a great offensive line. Like again, people talked about him being better than Lamar. I remember it happening. You can't ever gaslight me into like being like, no one serious said that.
No,
I
as
remember.
someone that is active on Brown's Twitter, I can confirm people did say that.
Remember
I didn't say it
about Baker.
but people said it.
You know, so you gotta everything with nuance. And Tua, I mean, he can obviously, it's the 6 touchdowns is 6 touchdowns, but I've seen Mitch Trubisky throw 6 touchdowns. Okay, it's not. You gotta really look at everything and be like, I don't know. I don't want to just shit all over a 6 touchdown performance, and he really did play well in the second half, but he also threw 2 just boneheaded interceptions. And like, you know, anytime Tua does anything, I get a million DMs. Apologize to Tua.
Yes.
And I guess my answer is no.
But you know who
but
needs?
do you know
who needs to issue an apology though? The Baltimore Ravens need to apologize to Lamar Jackson.
Why? What did they do?
They didn't pay him, man.
They should have paid him.
Well, they will.
Will they? Okay, let me ask you guys this, right? What is Lamar's incentive to stay in Baltimore? It's not money right now. It's really not his weapons. Mark Andrews is good. Bateman seems to be stepping into his role pretty well. The defense seems
Bateman hit
the defense seems to have completely fallen apart.
The weapons for the Baltimore Ravens are not that bad.
They're not that bad.
They're not that bad.
But like if he was in Miami or Philly, they'd probably be
the Ravens
a step
are
up.
not going to choose to be bad, which is what they'd be doing if they traded Lamar. His incentive is that he's going to get franchise tagged, and then the Ravens are going to offer him a big old contract. And I don't think it'll be fully guaranteed, but it's going to be more than the normal amount. And they'll probably like front load the guarantees like super, super, super heavy. So it's really not something like that. And then he'll stay. That's my guess. There's just no way.
The incentive is Jim Harbaugh. That's the incentive to stay. And the fact that the Ravens organization has been historically successful for a long time. You can say what you want about the Dolphins and who they've got. Yeah. And maybe you could go there and form a super team. But like that's Stephen Ross, dude. And that's the Miami Dolphins. Okay.
Yeah.
And I really think, if I was Lamar, I would even be thinking like, if my goal is to win, I can't get traded to the Dolphins. That doesn't work because they would have to give up so much to go get him that it would crush the team. I mean, they would be great, but building a team by trading, 3 or 4, whatever amount of first round draft picks it would cost them, and then paying that guy, that is not like a winning strategy. It'd make them pretty darn good.
Unless you're the Rams.
Yeah, but the
Rams paid 2 firsts for Matthew Stafford, way far off in the future, and they really only paid 1 and then 1 to get off of Goff. But they were right there. They lost in the Super Bowl because they scored 3 points. No, it was 2 firsts, 1 to get off of Goff, 1 for Stafford. It was the same trade.
Yeah. Okay. I think the end goal should be, I mean, if you really want to make a contender, wait it out and hit free agency. Don't demand a trade. Wait it out and hit the open market where you can sign a huge contract on a team that has all their resources. So, but it doesn't matter. Lamar played great today.
He did.
And this was this is a big stepping stone for Lamar Jackson too, because not a stepping stone, but it was a statement to do it against the Miami Dolphins, because last year Lamar Jackson was just so bad against the blitz. That was the answer. Every year we've got people, the league figured out Lamar. Is the league going to figure out Lamar? He's a one-trick pony. He's not a real passer. Happened every year. Last year, it started to seem like, maybe they did really find an answer against Lamar, because these blitzes, they stopped him dead in his tracks. Just by far the worst quarterback in the league against the blitz. And the Dolphins and Brian Flores and those amoebas cover zero stuff, that was like the peak blitz. That was the game where I kind of struggled the most on national television on Thursday night for him. And they blitzed him in this game. They what was the stat? Like he only dropped back like 12 times in the first half. faced a blitz on 10 of them, and he was like perfect.
Through
So they
300
blitzed
yards
him,
and 3 touchdowns.
blitzed him, perfect passer rating today. And there were some really tight window throws in there too. There was one to Andrews to get him at the 1 yard line. That was a nice throw kind of over the middle of the field in a closing window. The touchdown right at the end of the first half, I think. I can't quite remember who it was to, but that one was a real tight window throw. And he rushed for a 76-yard touchdown.
79.
Those are 79-yard touchdown. Wrong odd number, but no, that's the number. Jesus,
it was,
it was a long touchdown. So Lamar was kind of a superhero today, even though they lost. He looked fantastic against a blitz, and that was a real big key. And I don't feel horrible about the Ravens going forward. The touchdown to Tyreek, the second one, I think it was Hamilton who lined up in the slot with Marcus Williams. They both
the one where he was wide open, or the one where he ran past Peters?
The one where he was wide open.
I thought it was. I thought they like put in a 5th round rookie corner instead of Marlon Humphrey, and he thought he had safety help.
He should have had safety help. That was not.
Was that supposed to be Hamilton?
Fault.
Was that supposed to be?
That was. I think it was supposed to be Hamilton because they played cover 2, right?
Yeah.
And he passed him off to the safety, but Hamilton was literally lined up like right next to Marcus Williams, and they both guarded the guy in the slot like up the field, and there was just no cover 2 safety. They were both guarding this. They just lined up at the same spot. It was cover 2 from single high with no one rotating up, so it was like obviously going to be a touchdown, especially when it's Tyreek Hill. So there were some blown coverages in this game, and there was another stat that Next Gen Stats put out where the Ravens secondary, if you combine all of their yards covered, ground covered, the secondary covered over 6,000 yards of total like
running
distance. They all ran combined 6. And I've never seen that stat before, so I don't know how much a secondary normally runs, but I was like, they were like, that
seems like a lot.
That seems like a lot. And that's what you would get when you're covering Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle. Like that's another bonus you get is they cover a lot of ground really fast, and so do the players guarding them. And they look gassed by the end. They were out of sorts. They were discombobulated, and the Dolphins were just cutting through that defense like Swiss cheese. So we'll see about that secondary. It's already banged up. It's already injured.